to speak? See Mary joined our call again. Anyone in the public who would like to speak? Last call, anyone from the public would like to speak? Seeing none. Moving on to item 1, ordinance number 7, elected official salary ordinance 2026 through 2029. Now with the tax collectors affixed to the end and exhibit C that we've been missing in the prior meeting. Requires passed before February 15th, I think it was. Any questions? Concerns? And we want a bigger raise. Name none. Item number 2, resolution authorizing application to the Pennsylvania Municipal Assistance Program. Jess?
Good afternoon, council. I brought with me a couple members of our planning team, so we're gonna work together to talk to you about what we're doing here. I have Abby Height, she's our planning program, housing rehabilitation program administrator, and Ally Royal, she's our youth planning program coordinator. She's learning the planning department programs. Just started with us about less than, so we brought her along to see what we do here. What you have before you is a resolution that's required for what's called a MAP grant, a municipal assistance grant through DCED. We're applying for that grant to support 50% of the cost of a countywide comprehensive housing plan. A comprehensive plan for a community includes many components, and one of them is a plan for housing. Looking at what your needs are, what your availability is for housing, either affordable, market rate, what are the different types of housing, as well as the condition of housing, the availability of housing, and the opportunities and sort of needs and programs around supporting people to be able to find housing and have safe and quality housing within Erie County. The last time Erie County did a comprehensive housing plan was in 2008. So we are more than overdue for a housing plan. You know, we've been working, and you've seen my colleague Abby here quite a few times with us, that we've been working really hard at trying to bring more dollars into Erie County to support housing rehabilitation, particularly looking at low to moderate income groups and trying to help them to upgrade the condition of their housing. So doing that, we've been doing that without really a map or a plan on what is needed and where the money would be most wisely invested. So Abby had taken a look at when the last time we did a housing plan was 2008, so we would like to go ahead and do another one. In order to do that, the best way to do that is work with our partners at the state to receive some funding that will help support that. So the municipal assistance program grant is open right now. Abby, if you could let them know, what the process is on applying for that.
The application closes on March 1st. The resolution is our last step before I complete the application. We had requested for proposals from consultants. We received the consultants, we did interviews and spoke with them and came up with a consultant that we would like to work with. Once the resolution is passed and we can move forward, we would go on a contingent contract with that consultant to have the money in place for moving forward with it. And then once we receive the grant, if we receive the grant, we would go into a real contract with them moving forward, and we would be able to start the process of creating the comprehensive wide plan.
The total cost for the plan, we are working with our partners, the city and the City Redevelopment Authority and the Quarry Redevelopment Authority. And so the total cost of the plan to be completed with the consultant that our committee has selected is just over $142,000. So we're applying for 71, half of that. The costs are divided between the city and the county. So the city's contribution, the city would contribute about a little over 24,000, and the county would contribute 46,000. So we're sharing the costs within our portion of the 50%. So we just need the council's approval to pass the resolution for us to go forward with the grant application. And then that'll get us rolling. Like Abby said, if we don't get the grant, obviously, then we will not be entering contract to move this forward.
Jess, could you explain what it is the housing study does for you in terms of your work, and like what are you seeking to achieve through a housing study?
You want to go over the priorities of the thing?
We had very many priorities of understanding the housing stock, the age, where new housing could be added to the plan as well as updated in general. We wanted to define county rehabilitation program opportunities, so ways that we can rehab throughout the county, blight prevention and control, housing needs and opinion, options assessment, addressing service gaps, quality and affordability recommendations, and then housing needs for vulnerable populations as well. So kind of getting a wide scope of the various needs throughout the county. And if one area were to need a senior home care more than others, or how we can just best help our municipalities throughout our programs and various partners as well.
Yes, Chris.
Why does this take priority over something, let's say, like the child care initiative?
This doesn't take priority. This is an application that the application period is now. The grant is open now. The grant closes on March 1st. If we don't apply now, we won't be able to apply to the next cycle, which will be November. And we're, as you know, we're continuing to apply for grants and look for opportunities. The child care initiative, there's 2 child care initiatives. One's through ECRA. The grant agreement is signed. We are preparing that check as we speak.
You are preparing that check?
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, that's already been sent down for check processing today. I think was the day they usually work on checks. I'm not sure if it's today or will be next week, but that grant agreement signed with ECRA.
when should they receive that check?
The check will probably be sometime next week. I don't know. I think there's a process in terms of the county executive presenting the check that needs to happen, but that is in process. The grant agreement is signed.
Well, can you add
Presenting,
clarity
hold
there?
on, I'm sorry. Presenting the check, so council's gonna be invited to that, the check presentation?
That would be whatever the public
Okay.
information officer and the county executive typically do with presentation of our checks.
Okay,
I don't do the media side. I just do the grant.
I was just wondering.
Yeah, and
Why
the
would
two,
just be the county executive?
and on the childcare note, you know that, we have intentions to create a program where we'll help in-home childcare to make sure that they are achieving the most Keystone stars they can with areas that they might have deficiencies in their
Yeah,
quality of their house, but and Abby's working on that with our redevelopment authority partners in the city as well to define that. We haven't defined it yet, so we're working on that in conjunction. We work on a lot of things at once, so. this
yeah, I
is-
understand. I was more interested in when that check was gonna be cut before I considered moving forward with voting. Yes on anything else, so if that's coming next week, then I'll consider this. Appreciate the information.
Actually signed the check requisition today.
Sounds great. Yeah,
But I didn't put the two together. The two don't, to me, they're just 2 separate things that we had planned to administer.
yeah,
So-
yeah.
Is your budget loaded in FMS for 2025? You can see your budget.
I would have to defer to the finance director on our 20, if it's in FMS.
Yeah.
I don't,
So,
I know what our budget is from 2025.
so council had voted to eliminate or the fund balance appropriated for the Act 13 Greenways. That was being appropriated for a grant fund. Is it your opinion that you have that money to give out this year?
I don't have an opinion one way or the other. I don't.
If you go into FMS or somebody applies for that grant, do you have the authority to give that grant?
I have not been the person who awards grants anyway. We hold the pass-through funds because it's Act 13, Marcellus Shale Greenways is administered by the planning department, so I wouldn't be making those grant awards anyway. I don't do
The
that.
process by people
Applying.
under your
Well, We
department, right?
have the portals open to submit for grant applications. We do have it open. The only grant that we're currently working on in Act 13 is the Union City Ball Field. That grant
That
agreement
was
is signed.
approved.
Actually talked to Cindy Wells about that check. The check has been set down for processing and we'll probably have that to give to her shortly next week. So
But-
that ball field grant
But
is,
if other people were to apply for a grant, would your department process the paperwork related to receiving a grant from the Act 13 Greenways?
well, if we were instructed to do so, we would. We have not been instructed either way at this point. With regard to past due grants. only we've been instructed to move forward on the Union City ball field at this point.
Okay. Any other questions from anybody? Are you familiar with, an email string conversation that council was witness to between the county executive and a citizen from the city of Corey? Been briefed on that conversation at all?
No.
So there are two members of the Erie County Housing Authority that this gentleman in particular has taken issue with. Mostly regarding comments about the amount of Section 8 housing that is within Corey or County Housing Authority assets in the city of Corey. And the statement had been made apparently in a public meeting, and I haven't read the meetings to verify this, I'm just relating to you what I heard. Was basically trying to say that they should use the housing authority to try to get those resources out of the city of Corey. And that they were going to apply for an Act 137 grant to get a housing study in order to achieve that end. I'm not even sure exactly how a housing authority would achieve that end. But I mean, please tell me something that gives me some comfort, because I'm, and I don't mean to challenge you, because I have profound respect for you and what you do. I know you guys do a great job. But we've got a problem where we're not able to reconcile and figure out what your budget is and what grant funds that you are able to allocate. So I'm a little bit hesitant to authorize additional side missions, even though I think that they have a lot of value. But then also hearing the suspicion around somehow that these gentlemen have insinuated that this housing study is going to help them get rid of low income housing.
We'll be
Make me
happy-
feel better.
We'll be happy to share the RFP that we presented publicly for the consultants that we've gone through. This is required by our grant application that we do an RFP, that we send it up to DCD for review, and we're working with our partners, from the redevelopment authorities. We have not engaged the housing authorities at this point because we're not in process of a comprehensive housing plan. Once we're in process, obviously, anybody who's in housing, real estate, those type of things will be included to be participants in the comprehensive plan. They will be interviewed, they will be able to give input and things like that. But our housing plan is intended to look at the housing ecosystem. What do we need in Erie County? What do we need in terms of helping to make sure the condition of housing is sufficient for our residents? The availability of housing is sufficient, the affordability of housing. We lack a roadmap on looking at all these things countywide. There are 38 municipalities. Lots of them don't have capacity at the local level to look at what their needs are. And through the consulting process, we'll be able to then see funding opportunities to maybe add more of the appropriate type of housing needed in each of our communities. So, obviously, a housing authority is independent from county government, and just like the city housing authority is independent of city government. So what their intentions or options are doesn't change what our goals are in the housing plan. We are not seeking to move or change Section 8 vouchers availability. That's not our intention. Our intention is to look at the housing needs of each municipality and what is missing, what the gaps are, and what we can do to try to fill those gaps and reach those goals for those communities.
So I guess, just telling you where I'm coming from, those are the 2 points where
I don't know what
A
people
budget
are saying
invest-
about what we're doing. They're not
And
telling
I'll
me
share-
what they think we're doing.
I'll share the communication. Or I'm sure the executive could, because it was a back and forth. But between some of those concerns, if this vote went up to today, I think it would probably fail.
Well, and this is to apply for a grant to get this funded. We would certainly entertain having whoever to be members of the steering committee and to be, when we hire a consultant, to be able to sit down with them and give their input. Council members, the county executive, everybody can be part of that process once we kick it off. But I mean, we are the planning department. We're operating without a plan on how to address that. You know, I come before you when we need a transportation plan. I come before you when we need a recycling plan. I'm gonna come before you next, I don't know, probably next few months, over a solid waste management plan. What do we do with the stuff we put into the garbage? Whether it's go landfillized? So we have to have plans so that we do things in an organized and strategic fashion. Absent a plan, you've seen, you know, sometimes we're doing things sort of scattershot, and we're trying to help rehabilitate properties throughout Erie County, but we don't really have a plan. Where should our focus be? Where's the greatest need? We don't have that written down, and we need some help to guide us to be more strategic and impactful.
Any other concerns? Belabor the point for.
And Councilman, we are using our Act 137 funds to support our portion of the match. If that's what they mean, our Act 137s are affordable. No, 152.7. Act 137 is affordable housing. Those dollars come to us through realty transfers that are for affordable housing activities. So maybe that's where the Act 137 comes in. Yes, we're gonna do a housing plan. Yes, we're gonna look at availability of different types of housing everywhere. So. I don't know.
Moving on to number 3. Depository sale, kind of relative.
No.
I mean, these have already been done, but I know I have bad eyes. I can see an address, I can see Pennsylvania Avenue.
Oh, yeah, I don't,
We knew you were going to say that.
So everyone looked at the map then, right?
I didn't get a chance to look. at this
Okay,
one.
ninth
Usually-
in Pennsylvania, on the map.
I
There's
saw
not,
the map.
yeah, that's
What?
how the, there is no.
That narrows it down a little
List
more,
is
yeah.
how-
If you, from
I usually do.
topography,
Oh,
1047 East Ninth,
name that picture, Jim. Name that address.
1047 East.
Oh.
Keep going through.
you
Do
didn't get
you
that?
have, analysis of the fund balance?
We're still working on that for last year. Because I don't want to give you that number without an approximation on how we did last year also. When you know what the 2023 fund balance was via the CAFR, and then we have what we used out of 24, 25 in the budget, and what we appropriated out of 24s throughout the year, but we have some money that should be added to make the number a little closer to reality.
Paul, did you have anything to add today?
For today, nothing that's imperative, the financial position of the county is pretty much still underspent because we're in the beginning of the financial year, so nothing that would raise any concerns, so it's very clear today.
Mr. Chairman, I do have one more question, Jessica. Is there anywhere that it's applicable in this, the land bank? As far as subsidizing what the county is gonna pay towards this housing study, is there any way to work in conjunction with them? I know you'll work with them after the assessment is done, but is there any availability from the land bank to use? I mean, they get gaming revenue and stuff like that. Is there a way for them to help subsidize the cost of this study?
We have not asked them to do that.
This might be a worthwhile, I mean, they're gonna play a part,
It'll be-
obviously, in the,
Obviously, they're really important to the blight removal and prevention.
Right.
side of this.
so maybe there's a way that they can, there's, you know, possibly can work together with them and.
We thought we had a pretty good deal. We got the city to pay half of their costs.
I agree,
Let's
but if,
pay the other half and grant for the other half.
if we can get some of that out of the gaming, or they have an opportunity that they can use it, then why not?
I think we'll definitely have, once the plan's completed, implementation,
Yeah,
that will be a good shared project. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Jimmy, will take it away.
Sure thing. Open up the personnel meeting. Have a mixture.
Yeah.
All right. First on the agenda, ordinance number 2025, appointed official salary ordinance, part-time assistant public defender.
I'm Attorney D. John. I'm at First Assistant Public Defender here on behalf of our office. This is a position that we've had open about a year ago. I think County Council is pretty familiar with what we've been going through. About a year ago, we had 6 full-time attorneys and 6 part-time attorneys, when our normal complement is 10 full-time and 9 part-time. So we had a really huge shortage, and it was causing a lot of problems, very high caseloads. And right now, at this point, we are at 9 full-time. We would have been at 10 full-time, but we just had a public defender who was full-time with us for the last year. He ended up leaving. He was a newer attorney. He moved back down to Pittsburgh. So we have 9 full-time. This position here, this part-time position, will put us back at 8 part-time. So we're getting back to where we used to be, which is good because it helps the community. It obviously helps our office. It helps the attorneys. This helps everybody in general. This is the position that's going to be filled by an attorney who lives in Carnegie. His name is Sean Logue. He's been practicing for 17 years. No relation to Tony Logue, a local attorney. He has his own law firm, and he's going to be coming up. We've already worked it out. He's going to be working with Judge McGowan and handling cases to our office. So.
Questions, council? Thank you, sir. Number 2, possible appointment of Lawrence Brown to the Erie County Housing Authority, term to expire December 31st, 2029. This one was brought forward by the county executive. Discussions there. Number 3, possible appointment of Greg Nichinsky to the Erie County Human Relations Commission, term to expire December 31st, 2028. Forward by Ms. Showerman.
I'll just say that Greg's been on the HRC advisory committee for the last 3 years. So moving him up.
We have one more we're going to add to it, brought forward by Mr. Horton for a possible appointment of Wayne Patterson to the Erie County Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Commission. He'll be representing the 2nd District for the term to expire December 31st, 2029.
Yeah, and now briefly on Wayne was the HR director out in Edinburgh for a number of years. His resume of his time speaking on Tuesday. He currently works for healthcare company in the same capacity as HR. But local born and bred, it'll be a great addition.
Was he formerly DOC too?
I think that's his brother.
Okay.
Yeah. I think that's
Name
his
sounded
brother.
familiar.
And that's all we have for this meeting. And is there something else for the good of the order?
You're good.
No. We need. To adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
We should talk. Yeah. Mr. Chair.
I thought we were gonna have a executive session.
Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, I thought no, you have an executive session.
I don't know.
That's why.
Tom?
That's what I.
Tom? We're gonna have an executive session.
They
Okay.
have the ability to make up their own mind.
Thank you for interrupting.
Yes, Brown.